All right, welcome to Talking Investing. I'm Tom. The week is over. No George today. Sorry. George will be back in town next week at his regular workstation. So he'll be back then. It's too hard on his cell phone. So, welcome, everybody. Hopefully everybody had a good week. Especially starting at 2 o'clock on Wednesday until... today was kind of sideways in Bitcoin, but it was a good day in the market. It was a good week in the market. So this was a really good week for me. So let me know how you guys did. Hey Malik, hey Jury, hey Cameron. Welcome. Good afternoon. Jury said this week gives me some hope. Yeah, exactly. Hi all, strange week. We've got, let's go, greetings from Belgium. Greetings. I'm not going to mispronounce your name. Pobrain said, Bitfarms disappointment today. I'm going to talk to you guys about Bitfarms because I feel like I think I know what's going on there, and so we'll definitely remind me to get into Bitfarms. I think, you know, we got this $1.50 line in the sand, but I think I got a beat on that, so we'll talk about that and we'll see what you guys think. Malik said so. CleanSpark is also going nowhere, and I don't have a theory on that. Those are the two. Bitfarms and CleanSpark are the ones that, in my mind, really didn't go where they should have over the last couple of weeks. And I don't know what's going on with CleanSpark. That one doesn't make sense to me. I have a theory, but it's a much weaker theory. And I'll just tell you that one right now because it's, you know, I don't know that that's it. Something else may be going on. But I will tell you that because they have so many less shares, they're trading at around $4. And I still think there's enough people left in the market that just simply look at the list of these stocks and go, well, I can get Bitfarms for $1.50. I can get Hut for $2. Why am I going to pay $4 for CleanSpark? And I do think that holds them back. Now, they've had big runs. So, you know, when things get going, but they have had steady, very good monthly operational updates. They've had a few really nice buys on the spot market of new machines. The last bunch of machines they bought were already plugged in. They were the latest and greatest, and they were already running. So obviously somebody defaulted on those, and they got to pick them up for what they said was a great deal. So I feel like CleanSpark is doing things right. We'll see. It's, believe it or not, Monday, Bitfarms will give their monthly operational update. And then, you know, over the course of the next 10 days, we'll get almost everybody's update. And we'll see what CleanSpark has to say. But, I mean, it's been good update after good update. I'm not sure why they're lagging behind. Those are definitely, Bitfarms and CleanSpark are the two I'm a little bit confused about. I mean, Core Scientific went wild again today. So that thing got beat up like it was going out of business. I mean, it was just getting destroyed. And now the exact opposite. It's on fire. In fact, Buddy Finch says Core's is on fire. You are exactly right. Bitfarms has a sort of glue keeping it below $1.50. Yeah, I mean, this is the third or fourth day where intraday it pops over $1.50 and then it seems to hang on and you feel like, okay, today's the day. If we could just close above $1.50, we will make our run. But it just never fails. It doesn't get there. And it's lagging behind. So, but I do think I know why. So I'm going to definitely talk about that. Leon said over 6 million shares bought for Cores at market close. Oh, wow. Yeah, because I'm going to pull that chart up because I remember it having a nice day all day, but I did not remember it being up 16%. Did a lot of that happen, like, right at the end of the day? Let's go to the 30-minute. So, yeah, you can see, like, this last 30-minute candle, you're right. I don't have the volume turned on, but whoa! So this right here is volume for the last 30 minutes of the day. So you can see that was more than the rest of the whole day combined. And it shot the price way up. So I don't know if somebody knows something we don't, or if they just feel like Bitcoin's going to have a run this weekend, because I will tell you, I feel very good about Bitcoin for this weekend. So we'll go through that too, but I definitely, you guys let me know where you think we're going, either by the end of the weekend or during next week. Do you think this run is over? Have we already topped out? Are we going back down? What's your price target for Bitcoin here? I'm calling this a relief rally still. So I will have a video that comes out right after this. I just finished it right before the live stream, so I'll put it out after the live stream, and I do a deep dive on a lot of that, what I'm talking about now. But I got a good feeling. And, you know, most of the last 6 months, I have not had a great feeling about where Bitcoin was going in the short term. And again, this is, right now I'm talking about the short term being the next 1 week, 2 weeks, maybe a month. I could see a scenario where the entire market has a little bit of a relief rally. This is a very strange market. What does everybody think about the recession or not recession? What are we feeling? You know, everybody, we've all been looking at this for 2 months, going, all right, as soon as they confirm 2 quarters of, you know, negative GDP, you know, we've got a recession, and now sounds like everybody says no, it's not a recession. So, how do we feel about that? Cameron said, "Happy Friday, Tom. What on earth is happening with CleanSpark? Think earnings may surprise." I don't know what's happening with CleanSpark. I would love to hear people's theories. I'll tell you this. I mean, I'm dollar cost averaging into CleanSpark, and I'm not buying options. They're a little pricey for me, but I'm slowly increasing my position. I think they're doing everything right. So I don't know why they are not participating in this rally so far. And they're really not participating at all. I mean, they're at $3.99 right now. That's unbelievable to me. There's other companies that are up over 100%, and they're basically sideways. So there have been the haves and the have-nots in this rally big time. Okay, SJOERD. I'm spelling your name because I can't pronounce it. My apologies. More potential Bitfarms. Hut. CleanSpark. So, I mean, you're naming 3 of my A+ Bitcoin miners, in my opinion. I think the Hut is the safest investment right now. So, you know, it depends how you're looking at it. To me, they got a rock-solid balance sheet. They've got actual revenue coming in from their other line of business. So, I think they're a great invest. I think they're about to buy a bunch of machines, but that is total speculation. They have not said that. I have not heard that from them, but it seems like it is time. So, I think those are, for me, I think those are all good investments. I think Bitfarm is going to be the one that has the most immediate catalyst. That's what I believe. So I'll just tell you what I think is going on with Bitfarm. And I think as soon as this happens, it's going to take that jump from just under $1.50 really to $2. There's not much going on in the middle. on Bitfarms between $1.50 and $2. So, and man, we have just been sideways. This orange line is where the U.S. markets closed yesterday. So Bitcoin was at 23,790, and it has just been on this line ever since. It's crazy. It's just sitting right here, just under 24,000. But that's actually good. That's some consolidation and that's part of my reason why I think we're about to take another leg up. But we shall see. With Bitfarms, I think what's happening is a couple of things happened. They put out, even prior to their monthly operational update, and they always put that out on the first business day of the month, which is usually the first day of the month, but you know, if it's a Saturday or a Sunday, they wait until Monday. They put something out in advance of that to say that they got to 3.8 exahash, and in the previous monthly operational update, they had said they would be at 4.0 exahash within 2 to 3 weeks. Well, it's now 4 weeks later, and it looks like they're at 3.8 exahash, and they're looking to finish up and get to 4 exahash in August. So that's the smaller piece. I think there's two reasons. Number one, they continue to drag a little bit behind, but I will tell you, more so than any other, there's 3 or 4 miners that have been adding exahash every single month like clockwork. So maybe it's not as much as they said they were going to at the beginning of the year, and they've slowed their pace, but there's only 3 or 4 that really have been you know, they've been money, that they've been adding exahash every single month, and Bitfarms is one of them. But they have been a little behind their pace. They've lowered their target for the year, but more important than that, they still have $38 million sitting on this line of credit, and they got a 90-day extension on their line of credit. That thing has to go away. Investors don't like that at all. And they mentioned in their last monthly update that they were or it may have been a press release in the middle, that they were looking to, you know, potentially, once they get what is it, Medicine Hat? I might be thinking of the wrong word, but their facility that they're in the middle of finishing. Once that's up and running and those machines are online, they were talking about getting another loan, a more structured loan that's backed by the machines, you know, their Bitcoin miners, not their Bitcoin. And with that loan, they would pay off the rest of that line of credit. So they had $100 million on a line of credit. Over the last 75 days, they've paid that down to $38 million. And I really think sometime in the next very short term, they're going to announce that they're paying that down to 0 by getting a more traditional loan. So again, they've more than alluded to that. They have not definitively said they're going to do that, but they've talked about that being the plan. And I think it was contingent about the machines being in place and up and running before they could finalize that financing. So I think that announcement is coming out, which is why I think there's an imminent catalyst for Bitfarms. So we'll see. I mean, you know, if that doesn't come out in August, I'm hoping that's an August announcement. It sounds like they're right there. They're at 3.8 exahash. They said they were about to get to 4. And again, they've been getting there a little slower than they said they were going to. But I think as soon as they're at 4, they're going to lock down that financing. And again, this is not financial advice, and I have no insider information on this. It just seems to me, based on everything they've done this year, that that's what they're set up to do. I think that's what investors are expecting. We got to ditch that line of credit, and then I think we get a big jump. So I am hopeful. I have continued to add to my Bitfarm position, and I have some August options, because I really do think they're going to make that announcement sooner than later. But we'll see. Lance says Cores 250 April options were 75 cents. April next April? April 2023, because yeah, I mean, that's crazy. What's happening with the mining in Texas? Are there miners back online? I don't know specifically what's happening. I know that the state of Texas basically asked all of the miners there to participate in curtailments, and I'm not sure what's going on with the energy grid down there. I mean, they're adding monumental amounts to the grid, but yet somehow it still seems like it's not enough. So, and that is going to be Bitcoin mining central in the world, because all of the big publicly traded companies are building not small facilities there, 500 megawatt facilities, one after the next after the next. So there will be a lot of companies relying on that. Now, that's one of the reasons also, I think Hive and Bitfarms right now are not in Texas at all. And that environment that they have in Canada is outstanding, although Hive is in several different places. Bitfarms is going to, I think it's Argentina, somewhere in South America. And they've been very slow to bring that online, and I think that's because that is natural gas, and it's a new environment for them. Prior to this, they've been all hydroelectricity. So we'll see. But yeah, I don't know what's going on in Texas. It seems like it's all year there's weather conditions somewhere. Oh, we need to curtail because it's too hot. We need to curtail our energy because it's too cold. So that's a part of the deal. That's a part of the drill. And that's a part of the Bitcoin proof of work sales pitch that, hey, we're going to add to the grid, support to the grid, make it stronger, and we're going to kick back to the grid when it's needed. So I think that's just a part of life. I think that's the way it's going to go, from now on. Thoughts on BTBT Bit Digital at the current price? Asked Brogan99. And I'm a little bit encouraged with BTBT. For almost a year, it seemed like they were just lost in just nowhere. I don't know what they were doing. Every month their exahash was going down, not up. And the last monthly report that they put out was pretty comprehensive, and I feel like they are moving in the right direction. So they got some work to do because they really did take 10 steps in the wrong direction. But it seems like they're turning it around right now. So I am hopeful that they turn their thing around and get going. I do not own that stock right now. I did mess with that in 2021. I caught unbelievable. I didn't catch the whole run. I caught a nice part of what was an unbelievable run. I think it went from 4 to 16, and I bailed at maybe like 12 or something like that. So I caught a nice chunk of that, but I didn't ride it all the way to the top. And then I said, you know what? That's a win. And the more information that came out, and then obviously right after that, they had to leave China and turn all their machines off. So jury's saying Bit Digital is a bit risky in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, they got to put themselves back onto some kind of proven track record. The only track record they have right now is this is almost pretty much 12 months in a row where their exahash rate has gone down. Now, this last operational update is the first one. It went up, and they talked about plans to get it to, even higher than that. So if you see 2 or 3 of those in a row, and we see that they're actually mining some Bitcoin, because the amount of Bitcoin they're mining is pathetic. So we'll see. But yeah, definitely, that's not one of my rock solid plays. Ray says, hi, Tom. I'm your biggest fan from Asia. All right. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome from Asia. Whereabouts are you located? Let us know. Davy Jones says, Core Scientific. Boom. Yeah. I didn't get in on any of that run. I did not participate in Core Scientific. And so, but congratulations to everybody who did, because they just had, I mean, this was, let me get on to let me get on to the daily. even if you just go from July 14th, I mean, that's less than 2 weeks ago, they're up 74%. So anybody who bought down here did very well. So unfortunately, I bought, I gotta zoom out, it was so high. This was my line. So I bought here and I sold somewhere just above here. So that trade did not work out for me. I lost confidence and I could have kept averaging down, and it's definitely had a big turnaround since. So congratulations to everybody on the cores trade. Congratulations to everybody on the marathon trade over the last month. They're up like 150% or more. Let me check them out. Right, this was from July 5th, so from this month well to their, that's to where they're up 142% to where they closed on the day. They were up even more than that earlier in the day. So, you know, that's a massive run up in less than a month. Those two are the leaders. Riot has also had a nice run, not quite as big as that one, but and Riot is one of my bigger positions. You know, that's 82% in that same time frame. That's, you know, about 3 weeks. So, you know, yeah, it's the three big ones really, and they didn't happen at the same time. And still, Marathon's by far the leader. They're up 140%, but Core Scientific and Riot both had 70 or 80% run-ups. That's pretty awesome. And that's the kind of moves, I mean, that's what all you guys I know are doing in this industry. This is, you know, we're waiting for these days. So this has been a little bit of that run, and I suspect there's more to come. So I'll talk about that too. Barry says, "Hey Tom, greetings from Appalachian Trail." Oh, very nice. Crypto more fun when it's green. Are you going to stake your Matic? I'm never going to stake anything ever again. So I have not gotten burned on that anywhere, but now Robinhood's trying to essentially get you to loan your stock. So, like, this thing's getting out of control. Matthew asks, thoughts on CleanSpark? They're really lagging. Yeah, I did mention briefly, I have no explanation for why CleanSpark is lagging. No reasonable explanation. They seem to be doing it right to me. I don't know why they're lagging. I'm holding my position and adding to my position. Their market cap is at like 170 million or something like that. It's ridiculous. I'm gonna check. Yeah, $164 million market cap. I mean, there's no line of reasoning for that. That's crazy. They've also been clockwork. They have been adding to their exahash on a consistent basis all year. They've increased dramatically their exahash rate. They've increased dramatically the amount of Bitcoin that they're mining per month. I expect them to set their all-time record in the month of July. We'll get that update in a week or two. I expect Bitfarms to set their all-time record. There's a bunch that I do not expect to set their all-time record because a lot of these guys are taking some of this as downtime to get things where they need to be and get their costs where they need to be, take some of the older machines offline and refurbish them, move machines from here to there. You know, Riot, I know, is moving a bunch of machines from New York to Texas, and I know Hive has taken a bunch of machines offline and switched out machines, and a lot of them are being refurbished. Some of them are going to go in immersion where, you know, they go from not profitable to profitable. So a lot of that's going on, and then everybody knows Marathon has all their machines turned off. Yet they're still up 140% in the last month. So someday, hopefully, we think all of those will get turned on. Clearly, the market has now decided they're going to find a way to get those machines on because 140% run-up, that's a nice run-up. It still leaves them at only $13. These guys were at $80 8 months ago, so they're still way way off their highs, but they're having a nice run. Rob's saying, I'm concentrating more on Volta just recently. So I'm holding my Volta. I was going to add some options, and then I was like, you know what? I just can't get a read on what is going on in this EV sector. It's up and it's down. Tesla's been on fire. Tesla got over $900 million market cap. I don't know if they finished the day there. I always feel obligated to say I am not a Tesla. I'm not a Tesla enthusiast. They're the fifth biggest company in the United States, so I've done my due diligence on them. I understand what they do. Yeah, they're at 931 billion. They're almost back to $1 trillion. There's only 4 companies left in the U.S. in the $1 trillion club, so Tesla would make it 5. Meta used to be in that club. I don't see that happening anytime ever, actually, if you want my personal opinion. All right, let's see. Hive as well, taking off. Yeah, so I almost, Hive, I think, should get a special shout out to Hive because so they're now at $4.50. And I can tell you, I did a couple of videos on this, and I got a lot of negative feedback. And I continue. Every time I do a Hive video, I get a bunch of people saying, oh, Frank Holmes is a bum. And I don't know Frank Holmes. I had a very nice conversation with him on the channel. You guys saw, you know what I know. To me, I think he seems like he's got his finger on the pulse. I feel like Hive knows what they're doing. They did that reverse split, and everybody predicted, their demise, their imminent demise. I never felt that way. That reverse split was inevitable. And so they got it over with. And now, their goal was to be over $5. And everybody laughed at them. Ha, ha, ha. You're doing a reverse split and you're still not getting to $5. But that happened to be at a time where every single one of the Bitcoin miners tanked. So Hive did not tank disproportionately. And you guys know I chart this out like an insane person. So I tracked this along. They were never even in the bottom half. They were always better than average, even after their reverse split and they were moving down. So now they're back up to $4.51. They're on their way to $5, and $5 does make a big difference because it's not just that there's a lot of funds that won't invest in anything under $5. It also has to do with a lot of the brokerages use $5 as one of the benchmarks to adjust how much they will let you use your margin on a stock. So, right now Hive's non-marginable at most brokerages. So I think what they're hoping to do is, and obviously they didn't, know that Bitcoin was going to tank down to 17,000, but, it's on its way back, at least for now. And I think they're soon to be above $5. So I feel like I'm going to say good job to Frank. I thought he was, I thought he gave us a great conversation and he was open and honest on the channel. If you haven't seen the interview, you can check out the interview. I did originally an interview with Aiden and Frank, and then Frank came back on and we had a nice long talk. And I like Hive. So now, they got a situation. Their business is a little more complicated because of the Ethereum piece to the puzzle. But their Bitcoin piece is growing and growing. It's much bigger than it used to be. And we will see what happens with Ethereum. That's something I'm starting to do a very deep dive on, just so you know. So I did a preliminary Ethereum ETH Classic video. And I'm going to do a lot more on that because I got to get to the bottom of what's going on there. I feel like I'm not 100% understanding what's going on, and I get so much conflicting information regarding this merge or this, proposed merge or pending merge or whatever you want to say. So are there any of you guys ETH people? Are you guys Do you invest in ETH? Are you looking forward to the merge? Do you know about the merge? Are you suspicious of the merge? What do you guys think? Matthew saying maybe CleanSpark's getting acquired and held down on purpose. I just don't think they're. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Nothing would surprise me, but I just don't think they're getting acquired. They have a plan, and it seems like they've been executing exactly as they've described. So I feel like they're on their plan. Their stock is not cooperating, but you know, if it lags behind and takes a little longer to get where it's going, it really doesn't make any difference as long as it gets to the finish line. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely a lagger right now. And those are the ones, and I started off this thing by saying, to me, Bitfarms and CleanSpark are lagging, and I think they're due for a run. So for me personally, I've put a little bit extra into some Bitfarms options in particular. But as always, this is not financial advice, so please be careful, because we all know the other thing options do are go to zero. So let's see. Gareth says, I like your videos focusing on upcoming policy changes to crypto. Keep it coming. All right. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I've been trying to, because that's like a dark cloud looming over the price action on Bitcoin, and obviously as a function of that, all of these Bitcoin miners. You know, if we could get that locked down, and it's a matter of knowing the rules. That's the classic example of this is oil refineries. And if you look at the history of oil, you know, whatever your feelings are on oil, this is not a political conversation on oil. It's just from an investor standpoint, it's a fact that nobody's built an oil refinery in this country in like 40 years because they don't know what the rules are. So they're afraid they're going to spend $1 billion and then be told, oh, you got to shut that thing off. So, you know, that's what's happening to crypto right now. It's not going to be like the oil refineries. It's not going to linger for 40 years. I think it's imminent. And we almost just got some regarding stable coins, and then it got sidetracked at the last second. But I feel like that's coming in September. More to come. I feel like by next January, February, or March in the U.S. anyway, we will have the bulk of the rules set, the regulations set, and I think that's a giant catalyst for the entire crypto market. But we could be, you know, we still could be 6 months away from that. Mark's saying jumped back into Hive, jumped back into CleanSpark. Yeah, I mean, CleanSpark is just sitting, even today, it's still under $4. I can't believe it finished under $4 on the day today. Hello from, I don't know if that's Canada or California. Wayner. Thoughts on Applied Blockchain? Thank you. I will give you my thoughts on Applied Blockchain. And again, this is not financial advice. Take it for whatever it's worth, and it has pulled back a little bit. Let me bring them up. I'm not investing in that right now, and it is because of their market cap. But let me get there. So they have a $200 million market cap. They're worth more than CleanSpark, just to put it in perspective. So if I look at, if I have $100 and I can either put it in CleanSpark, which has a market cap of $160 million, or Applied Blockchain, which has a market cap of $199 million, CleanSpark has more, they have more assets, so their book value is higher, and in my opinion, they have a much better business model. So I know Applied Blockchain has just made some monumentally huge deals. So they are looking to ramp up. I mean, it's like 50x in the next couple of years. So, you know, if all that happens, but that's a lot of ifs, because, you know, we don't know exactly what the path is going to be on Bitcoin and all these Bitcoin miners, and I think these guys are mostly just hosting. So their revenue, I looked, I did not find in their, even in their 10K, I didn't find any mining revenue. They say the mining, but I didn't find any mining revenue. That's pretty much all just hosting. And the other thing that I will tell you is, if you look at all the other Bitcoin miners that also host, they all lose money hosting. So I don't know what's going on with Bitcoin mining hosting. I assume that that's just got to reach some critical mass where, you know, you're big enough and you're to scale enough where you'll be making money. And if these guys do what they say they're going to do, they will get there, because I mean, it's astronomical. I mean, part of it was Marathon, I think, just pledged like 10 exahash or something with them, and that's the tip of the iceberg for them. So, I mean, they have a lot of good stuff coming up, but for me, I'd rather have my money in a Bitcoin miner than in Applied. So that's just my personal opinion. We got a Go Hive, and they're still mining ETH. Yes, they are still mining ETH. At BTC current price, what miners are profitable? I was thinking Hut 8. Will ETC Classic take off after the ETH merge? So I did a video on ETH Classic, and that's basically the question I'm asking. I mean, if anybody hasn't noticed, it's already taken off. It's up like 150 or 160% or something like that in the last really short period of time. And if this merge is going to happen, these machines are going somewhere, and there's a pretty limited supply of where to go. And if you look at ETC, I mean, it by far most closely resembles Ethereum. Obviously, they were the same at one point. So I'm digging more into that. I think ETC is a very interesting investment. I want to understand ETH. I had to pull up the white paper because I have read so much disinformation regarding this merge. And I'll tell you, and you guys can leave a comment, but this is one I have to research myself and definitively find the answer to, because everywhere I go, I've gotten a different answer. And you know, whenever I get 10 or 20 different answers, that usually means nobody really knows what's going on, and that's what I'm worried about. And what I'm trying to understand is who exactly makes the decision. How are the decisions made on the Ethereum blockchain? Because I have not been able to answer that question. And I've read a lot of answers, so it's not like people haven't tried to give me an answer. It's just a different one every single time. And it's whatever it is, it seems to be extremely different than how Bitcoin works. And it all started with my question of, you know, why would they switch from proof of work to proof of stake? I know from an environmental standpoint why you would do that, right? They're saying it's going to decrease their energy usage by 99%. So that makes perfect sense. That's obvious. But who's the decision makers? Because the people actually mining Ethereum, that's a disaster for them. They're going from being able to earn money to not being able to earn money. So clearly, it is not the miners that have the final say on that. And from what I'm seeing so far, they have almost no say at all. Actually, the one thing that I did read that they could do is a bunch of them could get together and create another fork right now and just not switch to the new protocol. So I'm trying to look at what that would mean. Everybody's skeptical that anybody would do that, and they said, well, if they do that, it'll be worthless. But I don't know. They could switch over to ETC. They could just stay on this one. But I got to read the white paper from start to finish and probably dig even deeper than that to figure out what's going on there. So if anybody wants to leave me a link or anything, I mean, I got the link. I've been reading the white paper, but if you got any other insight, I'd love to know it. Wayner, Canada. Okay, so CA is Canada, yes. Welcome from Canada. 3 of my 5 favorite miners are there. And I will tell you, I did finally give up on DigiHost. Is, although they seem to be conducting most of their business in New York, they're a Canadian company. They've just had so much trouble that I had to give up on them. So I hope they succeed, but JM says CleanSpark can move fast, low share count. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about CleanSpark. They're at, around $4, but their share count is so much lower than almost all of the competition. I think that Hive, they did their reverse split, but their share count, I believe, is still much higher than CleanSpark's. I'm going to look at these, although they're not always exactly correct. So, yeah, I mean, so CleanSpark's got about 40 million shares outstanding, 41 million, and that's the number. That makes sense. That's what I remember. But let's see what Hive ended up with after that reverse split. Yeah, they're going to have a bunch more. So they got double that. They got 82 million, which puts them closer to everybody else. Bitfarms, I think, is now at 200 million shares, I think. As long as I set it, let me just check. Float 185 million, shares outstanding 203 million. Yeah, so I mean, that's a big part of the equation that everybody, I can't tell you how many investors I come across that only care about share price, and they just do not take the number of shares outstanding and the market cap into account. And that's why they'll say, well, I'll buy Bitfarms at $1.46 instead of Hive at $4.51 because I can get 3 shares of Bitfarm for 1 share of Hive. But that's really not how it works. I mean, yes, that is how it works. You can get 3 for the price of 1, but their market caps and outstanding shares are very different. So that's the more important part. Ryan is saying Canaan, which I pronounce wrong, I believe. So sorry about that. Is disgustingly undervalued. I think their problem is right now there is a glut of machines. This thing did a 180. We went from a year ago, nobody could get their hands on an ASIC miner, to now people are defaulting on their contracts. Other people are picking them up for, I'm not going to say pennies on the dollar, but at discounts and or deep discounts. So I don't know where Canaan sits. I know they had a big backlog. I don't know if all those, are going to get bought, or if some of them. It also seems like a lot of the Bitcoin miners seem to be saying they had contingencies in their purchase orders to reduce the price of those machines based on current market value. So some of these machines that they may have sold at $10,000, by the time they deliver them 8 months later, they may actually, the settlement price might be $6,000 or $7,000. I'm not sure. And it's hard to get to the bottom of all that because they don't disclose most of that. And the other thing about that company is they call themselves a Bitcoin miner, but they're really not. So I know that also confuses a lot of people. They do have a Bitcoin mining operation. It is tiny. It represents something on the magnitude of 2% of their business. I don't really think it's ever going to grow bigger than that. So if it does, I'll definitely stay on top of that and let everybody know. But that's what's happening with them right now. Jury's saying I bought both. Colton, you're in Canada as well. Welcome. That's why I love Hut. I used to live very close to the border, but on the East Coast. So I was near Buffalo, which essentially, Buffalo to Niagara Falls is a few minutes away. And Lake Ontario, if you were able to swim across, which you can't, Toronto's on the other side. So that was my neighborhood. But I know that the miners are mostly over on the West Coast. Eric, hello, you-hoo. What's going on with CleanSpark? I don't get it. You're not alone. You're not the first person to ask, and I don't have an answer. I don't know what's going on with CleanSpark. I'm keeping my investment. I mean, they appear to be doing everything right. I just crossed paths with them, and I'm not going to get to do it yet. I bet you guys, I don't know if you know, I was planning on going and touring their facility, and I was going to get there this weekend, and now it's not going to happen. But anyway, that doesn't matter. I think CleanSpark's doing everything right. So I like what they're doing. I'll wait for their monthly update. The other thing that we're going to get from everybody, almost all of these guys are putting their financial statements out. They've been announcing the date. Several of them announced the date today. So it's going to be the second, third week in August for the vast majority of the Bitcoin miners that we're going to get Q2 information. So I'm going to be looking for some really specific things in there because mainly I really want to get a handle as these guys scale up, which CleanSpark clearly has. They've added to their exahash every month all year. So as they scale up, is their direct cost per coin going down? I want to get, that's what I believe should be happening. And I'm talking about direct cost. I'm talking about the cash portion of their direct cost, the crypto winter analysis type of a thing, not, depreciation and all of that plays into their net income, but in order to mine the next Bitcoin, are they making money? Are they paying more in energy and hosting and whatnot? And I did a spreadsheet on this in a video recently for every single one of the Bitcoin miners. All the numbers, in my opinion, are higher than they should be. I would like some more transparency on those numbers. So, they're not outside of their reporting requirements. There's more information they could give, and that would be helpful to me because their total direct costs don't equal what they say their energy costs are, and it's fairly dramatically different for most of them. So I'd like to know more about those costs. I'm hoping we get some more insight. In 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to get a bunch of financial statements. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll be able to redo that entire analysis, and hopefully it'll be more meaningful this time. WLG core just popped a little bit more. Are they popping in after hours? I mean, it sounds like at the end of the day, they just went wild. AP in central Alberta, Canada. My mind is totally boggled why CleanSpark is so low. Yeah, me too. I think we are all... Somebody somewhere must know what's going on. I don't know why CleanSpark is bogged down like they are. To me, they should be participating in this rally to the same extent, at least to the same extent as everybody else, if not more. But at least they should at least be doing average. Samuel, hi Tom. Hi Samuel, welcome. Eric said, it appears that CleanSpark has been put back in the cold like 6 months ago. Then it popped out of the blue. Now, just terrible price action. CleanSpark had a run. I'm going to go look at that because, and maybe it does just move in bursts for some reason. But, man, I got a part of that one. And that was, with all the downward pressure over the last 8 or 10 months, it's nice to have a few wins in there somewhere. Yeah, I think it was this. That's from January. That's 153%, but the pop I was looking for was just, I think, probably from here to here, which was just a few weeks. So that is from March 15th to March 28th. They were up, in 2 weeks, they were up 50%. So they've had a couple of, and if I go from here, this is 3 weeks. Yeah, that's 92%. So, maybe they're due for one of these. I don't know. This is the same. This action right here is what's happening right now, I believe. I think that the relief rally we're in the middle of is mirroring these last couple of weeks in March. It's taking a little bit longer, but, if you look at the RSI and the MACD and some of the other indicators, it looks very similar, in my opinion, to this period. but we just, CleanSpark, obviously, look at them. They're sideways near their all-time low, whereas here they ran up like crazy. So maybe it's about to come. That would be nice. I'm not selling any of my shares. I won't sell them even if they run up. So that's a long-term investment for me. Have you been following the XRP case and its effect on the crypto market? I follow along to the extent that, for those of you who are familiar with our Friday live stream, I usually have George here with me, and he is a big XRP guy. And so I just try to follow along to that extent. I know they did have a nice little victory in court. That might have been about a week ago now. But that case seems to be dragging on beyond where I thought it would. I don't know when that's going to end. Eric Brown saying Mawson is a great buy. Yeah, it was a better buy 2 days ago. Mawson was in a free fall. I'm looking for them. Why can't I find them here? Some of these were big green days in the market, and they were having red days at the same time. So you can see they reached their all-time low. They got to, it looks like 69 cents a couple of days ago. So, but they've had a really nice turnaround since then. What's their run up in the last two? These are 2 trading days. I'll go from their low, that's 3 days. Yeah, that's a 40% move over the course of those, from the bottom of those 3 days until now. And I'm glad, because it just looked to me like they were in a free fall and there was no end in sight. But they seem to have found a bottom. I know I did a video on them, and a lot of people in the comments mentioned, some of the other assets they have and their business model that, they should be worth something. It doesn't make sense that they're going to zero. So I guess the rest of the world caught up with you guys on that one, and they're making a comeback. WLG says Core. Yeah, Core's had a massive run up. And they've had a massive run up, and they're at $2.50. If you would have asked me at any time when I made this line right here, so this was back on January 24th, I thought $5.86 for Core, that's crazy. It's never going to go below that. And obviously it went substantially below that. So there's a lot of room. All of these, even the ones that have made runs that are up 100%, are still down 85% from their peak in November. So there's a lot of room left to run. Let's see. Thank you, Corey. Can you check Elrond? It's a crypto I like. All right, let me put it in the... You know what their ticker is? Thank you, by the way, for the super chat. Jury saying I changed Hive. Oh, Samuel saying, I got out of Hive this week, redistributed into Hut and Bitfarms, been investing in Hive for a while, but I have much more conviction in the other two. Worried the ETH and mining costs, why did they increase? So that's another fair question, and I didn't forget about you, Corey. Hopefully you can give me a ticker on that, or I'll just type it in. Oh, EGLD. EGLD. Crypto. So what kind of market cap are we looking at on this thing? And where, yeah, like everything, this has had a wild ride. So I don't know what the market cap was, but this was up around $550. So this is down in the neighborhood of 90% right now. So is that something you like, or you're invested in that? You're saying you like it. Are you in it? Are you invested in that? Leon saying the mysterious SOS limited. Yeah, I gave up on even paying attention to SOS. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. I'm never going to know what they're doing. SDIG Stronghold. Yeah, so let me talk about that more. Let me just do quickly. I just want to look at this thing, EGLD, and see if we can get a market cap. So it's over $1 billion, so that makes it a top 50 coin. I don't know this coin, but I think that puts it in the top 50, right? CoinGecko is one of the places I go. Where do you guys go for your... Yeah, so, see? I said top 50. It's number 49. So I'll have to look into this. I don't know anything about it. And I will tell you, I am about to spend a lot more time on cryptocurrency. I'm not going to spend any less time on the Bitcoin miners because that is obviously, that's my number one by far investment. And it's also... You know, I'm very interested in that, so I will continue always with the Bitcoin and Bitcoin miner videos, but I also want to expand more into cryptocurrency because I've been digging in, and there's some interesting stuff going on there, and I'm starting to wrap my head around it. So you really got to commit to it, though, because it's not, you know, what I did not like is for so long, it's like, oh, pick this coin, you know, because it's great for these 4 days, and you'll 10x your money, and then it'll go to zero, so... that's a game I don't like to play, but if there's coins and projects that have a lot of potential that are moving up the list, you know, that's something I'd like to find out some more about. And I got a few ideas, but I don't want to say any yet because I really haven't done all my due diligence. So White Chocolate asked, would you tell more thoughts on Stronghold digital mining? So Stronghold, and I really got some people that were really mad at me. Corey, thank you very much. I appreciate that for the super chat. Thanks so much. I know times have been tough for everybody, so I know it's hard to super chat in these days, but I appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody's comments. So Stronghold has a cash problem. And it's a real problem. They have I won't say cash. They have a liquidity problem. So for those of you who don't know what Stronghold does, I mean, they are actually a unique company. There is no other company that does what they do. And they are cleaning up basically waste, what is really toxic waste in Pennsylvania, converting it to energy, and they're cleaning up. I think it's tens of thousands of acres are going from toxic land where the toxins are seeping into the water. It's a nightmare. And they're mining Bitcoin by using that waste product. They're getting a byproduct from that and mining Bitcoin. At the same time, they're an energy company as well. So, their story is great. They're doing great things. They gave a gigantic deposit for some machines to a company that is... I'm going to say at this point, they've ghosted them. So they're out something to the tune of $60 million, and that has made a difference for them. That's $60 million. They're a small cap company. Not having those machines hurt, not having that $60 million hurts. I don't own any Stronghold, but I do. Somebody will step in and make that happen because what they're doing needs to be done. So I feel very strongly that one way or the other, I don't know if that means that they get bought out or whatever the case may be. I hope they find a way to get some. I have read about several new potential financing options for some of these Bitcoin miners. There's some new players stepping in that may be lending some money. So if that's what it takes, if their stock could have a little recovery, it's hard for them to raise money. They were down to, they fell their stock fell off a cliff. At one point, they were down to $30 million market cap. They're up dramatically from there. Let me see. But still, they're way under 100 million. Yeah, they're $53 million. I mean, I guess it's better to raise money at $2.50 than they hit a 52-week low of $1.46. But equity, I don't think, is their answer. At a $53 million market cap, there's not much money you can raise. They need to find a way to borrow some money, manage the money they got. They say they've got a plan. I hope they do. For me, I think there's so many other... Although I love what they're doing and I want them to keep doing it from an investment standpoint, there's so many other Bitcoin miners that I think have a lot faster upside potential that, and I can't invest in all of them. I think I'm down to 5 or 6 right now miners that I'm invested in. I was much higher than that, but I've tried to pare down to the ones that I had the highest conviction in. Eric is asking, does George think Bitcoin has bottomed or not? LOL. So I'll speak on behalf. I just talked to George a couple hours ago, and he's excited to be back on the stream next week. He wanted to do it this week, but it just isn't practical. But no, he does not think that Bitcoin has bottomed. He is calling for, I believe, and I'll let him answer next week more definitively, but I think what he talked about today with me was 15,000. So George is still looking for a pullback down to $15,000 sometime in the next, he didn't really give a time frame, the next month or two. So that's George's input from afar. Samuel's saying, Mara, Marathon is hard to have faith in what they say. They'll probably get there eventually, though. Got to double or triple their stated timelines. Yeah, I mean, that's the conundrum with Marathon. They have the machines. I mean, it's not even like they've purchase ordered the machines. They've made deposits for the machine. They have the machines. They just can't get them online. And it's definitely, as an investor, got to be extremely frustrating. Something has changed, though, because clearly they're up 140% over the course of the month. So there's some renewed level of confidence that they're going to get where they're going. And I think they will get where they're going. I mean, the question it may be, it's not the energy deal they thought it was going to be or who they thought it was going to be with, or maybe it all just comes together. I don't know, but it is hard to watch them miss month. And it's not just a few months. I mean, they're a year into missing. I mean, they're off by like 95% off their plan right now. And that doesn't mean they can't get back on their plan, because still being that far off their plan, they still said in their last monthly update that by the end of the year and by the first quarter of 2023, they would be at 23.3 exahash, which is 100% of their plan on time. So I don't know how they're going to pull that off. I mean, they were literally way under 1 exahash this month. So they claim they're going to get from there to 23 in what is a relatively short period of time. Sad Boy said, thoughts on coin earnings. I'm going to do a deep dive on Coinbase. I did a little bit of a Coinbase related video. They have so much going on right now. I mean, I'm more looking for future earnings. Obviously, this one was not what anybody hoped, but I'm going to leave it to my deep dive to answer that question. But I am going to do another video on coin. They're in the middle of, I mean, every government agency is on them right now. So, they got a little bit of a mess to get through, but they've got a very strong business model, in my opinion. So at the moment, it's not making them money. White Chocolate said, thank you. You're welcome. Blue Dope, is there any way to check Mara Bitcoin production? Their pool doesn't show anything, and that is because their pool is turned off. Their Bitcoin production from their pool is literally 0 for the month of July. So they do have a few machines, and when I say a few, I mean actually just a few. It's less than 1 exahash that they have plugged into somebody else's pool. But this is how far off their plan is. Their pool's turned off. I mean, that's That's a pretty big miss. So I expect that they will mine significantly less in July than they did in June, and June was an absolute nightmare. May was a nightmare, and June got much worse. I think July will be worse, but none of that's what their stock price is going to trade on, because at this point they've given up operations on a temporary basis. What they're looking to do is say, hey, the summer is lost, but by the end of the year, we're going to be at 13.3 and very quickly transition to 23.3 exahash, and all's well that ends well. So by next March 31st, we're going to be they'll be one of the biggest miners on earth if they stick to that plan. So, but I would not expect to see too many Bitcoin mined. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see a number like 100 or maybe less. Jedi says, I think Marathon has a lot of Bitcoin on the balance sheet, like MicroStrategy. Maybe that's why it's running up. So that is true. They have over 10,000 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. That's a good point, Jedi. And Samuel says, I agree with Jedi. So, I mean, they got 10,000. Now, they bought 4,500 of those a year and a half ago, but they got them on their balance sheet. And the other 5,500, they've self-mined. So they got over 10,000 Bitcoin. They have more Bitcoin on their balance sheet than any other Bitcoin miner. In second place is Hut with over 7,000 Bitcoin on their balance sheet, and that's all self-mined. So, those guys. But, I mean, why Hut has a similar amount of Bitcoin. They have 70% of the Bitcoin that Marathon does, but they're nowhere near 70% of the market cap that Marathon is. So I don't know. That could be a piece of it. I think people are just really counting on the fact that at this point, they could have 80,000 machines that are ready to be plugged in. And ultimately, you've got to imagine that's going to happen. They're not going to get thrown in the garbage. I mean, at some point. Eric says, methinks George has jumped out of the market just at the wrong time. Well, he can't get back in until Monday. That's his tax window. So he did just miss the last 2 weeks of run-up. We'll see if there's any left. I think there's room left to run. But yeah, he definitely missed a piece of the puzzle, for sure. Samuel saying, I wonder at what pace Hut will grow their different business segment. I can't wait to see their earnings and what they have in store. Yeah, and I'm also very interested. It is about time for them to start buying some ASIC miners, because the price is way, way down. And I know Jamie was confident that it was going to continue to get cheaper and cheaper to buy these. And I think they're trying to time this thing exactly right. But, there's a danger in trying to be too perfect. So I'm hopeful they announce that they're and I think they'll buy them on the spot market. There's no reason to be ordering machines for the future. So I got to believe they're looking for the right deal, and that I'm hoping in the next 30 days they announced that they've started the process of adding to their exahash, because they did say they're going to get to 6 exahash by the end of the year. So we'll see if they're still on that plan. I'm going to try to get them back on and talk to them, because I definitely would really like to hear what their answer is to that. And yeah, I mean, their other part of their business seems to be humming along, and that generates actual cash. So, that's what allows them to still continue to hodl 100% of what they're mining. Philip Carl says, I've sold covered calls on Marathon. Used proceeds to buy Hut 8. Nice. I like that. I mean, I think that's a great move. So, that's my opinion, but I like that a lot. Let's see. Chris, it's hilarious how CleanSpark management sold Bitcoin to not dilute and help shareholders in theory, yet that's actually hurting them. I know CleanSpark, they can't win for losing. It's like that strategy, by the way, I mean, now, hindsight's 20/20, but that strategy paid off for them. They basically dollar cost averaged out of Bitcoin as it was crashing. So they have a lot more money and resources and And that is why they've been able to buy a bunch of machines on the spot market because of that strategy. So, yeah, it does seem like they get punished either way in the short term, but in the long term, I mean, it's the reason they've got, I think they're at 2.8 exahash now and growing. So I do think that I think their stock price will catch up to their operations, in my opinion. But it is, you're right, it's hilarious. It's like they just, that's one of those things you could criticize anything. So Michael Anthony, which has the most Bitcoins? So which miner has the most Bitcoins? Marathon has the most Bitcoins on their balance sheet out of all of the Bitcoin miners. And then I believe, no, I know that Hut is in second place with over 7,000. And then Riot, I think, has about 6,000. And they hold some and sell some. So they're taking a hybrid approach. They've been doing that for several months now. And I think those three are far and away the most. Core Scientific had over 10,000, but they've sold like 80% of their Bitcoin. And for all I know, they've sold the rest this month. We'll see when their operational report comes out. But yeah, they've sold over 8,000 Bitcoin in the last month and a half. And of course, unfortunately, Bitfarms did sell 3,300 of their Bitcoin, and they kind of got boxed into that position in order to straighten out their some of their covenants in their debt and get rid of this line of credit. So that's what it took to get there. It was not ideal, but it's not the end of the world either. And I think they're almost done with all that. And I think when they're done with that, we're going to get that pop in Bitfarms that I've been waiting for. So that's my theory. Do you watch Crypto Crew University? I do not. Should I? That's Eric asking that. If you're a Bitcoin miner and you're financially sound, you should not be selling Bitcoin right now. Yeah, and Eric Brown is saying that as well. And there's no doubt. I mean, this is the last time out of the last 20 months that you want to be selling Bitcoin. Right? You'd have been better off at any other time than now. But I think obviously those that have sold their Bitcoin, whether they want to say so or not, or whether they want to admit it or not, they were pretty much boxed into doing so, or they wouldn't have done it, because you don't pick, a 20-month low to sell your Bitcoin, and you don't, and even if they thought, oh well, it's gonna go lower, if you're a Bitcoin miner, your philosophy can't be, things are going to get worse, I better sell my Bitcoin. Well, then sell all your Bitcoin miners and go out of business then. You're either doing it or you're not. So, just my opinion. But I agree with you, Eric. One Hot Meal is asking, will Riot be profitable this year? So this is what is going to be really difficult. When the financial statements come out, I'm going to be looking more at what are the direct cash costs, because they'll break out their depreciation. So I want to know what are their direct costs and what are their overhead. Because the thing is, the profitability for these guys is going to come when Bitcoin gets to a certain price. So if you're asking, are they still profitable at 23,000? I mean, even if they are, it'll be, some small profit versus, that's not my reason for investing in Riot. My reason for investing in Riot is when Bitcoin's at 50,000 or 100,000 or, points there beyond. And that may take a year or years, whatever the case may be. In the meantime, if they can hold a portion of their Bitcoin, they get all that increased valuation as they go. So that's back to Eric's point. It's like, if you don't have to, don't be selling your Bitcoin right now. I do think some of these companies are selling a portion, keeping a portion and selling a portion, and I can understand that mentality. And I think that mentality is basically, we're going to pay for our operations, right? We're a business. We're not going to borrow any more money. We're not going to dilute our stockholders anymore. We're going to pay for our monthly operations, and we're going to save whatever's left on top of that. I mean, it's almost like, an individual would do. So I got to wrap it up in a couple minutes, but let me just read a couple more here. Bitcoin miners, management generally use their companies as cash cows, says Eric Brown. I mean, I think that depends. All Bitcoin miners are not created equal. That's what I will say. One Hot Meal is saying Riot is debt free. I think, yeah, they are either very low debt or no debt. So that's a big advantage. And one of the advantages, Marathon has over $1 billion in debt, but actually the way that debt is structured is fantastic. So there is another side to Marathon's business. From a business standpoint, they have done, not operations. Operationally, obviously, they've fallen down and they can't get up. But on the business side of things, they have made some incredible maneuvers. And their $1 billion is convertible debt. No principal is due until the year 2026, and it's convertible at $76. So, as a shareholder, you hope that all gets converted and you get diluted, because that means, they're at some price well above $76. So that's just win-win-win scenario. So they do have some good things going for them. Riot is obviously, it's even better to be totally debt-free. And again, they may have some small amount of debt, but they're not one of these guys with, $1 billion of debt. And then WIM is asking, is CleanSpark going back to 40 or more when Bitcoin rises? And I mean, right now they're at 4, so that would be a 10x. I think that, they were at 40 at a really weird time. They were over $40 back in January of 2021. At that point, they had only mined about 40 Bitcoin ever. They just bought a small Bitcoin mining operation. They were using it as a proof of concept for their microgrid. People were very excited about all things highly speculative, and that company ran up to $40 at a time where that made just no sense on earth. So I'm not sure how fast they're going to get back to $40, but I know they ran up to 16. I can see them running to 20, 25. So I don't know how long it's going to take to get to 40. I think we're going to have to be, testing record highs for Bitcoin, or maybe Bitcoin 100,000. But that doesn't mean they can't 4x or 5x in the middle. I mean, there's nothing wrong with, a 400% return in what could be a year or 18 months or 2 years on the outside. Eric Brown is saying, with structured pay and options in the current market, you should not be paying yourself $300,000 to $400,000 a year as a CEO, etc., with zero profit. So, I mean, a lot of these guys are paying themselves in, and remember, they don't pay themselves. The board makes these payment agreements. They're employment contracts with them. So, I mean, if you're a CEO, you're not going to say, I hit benchmark XYZ, but I'm not going to take my bonus and stock options because the company's not doing good. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I do think a lot of these companies, their non-cash compensation has not gotten out of control. It's been out of control for the last year and a half. So, but some of these companies have scaled that back. I think you'll see in the financial statements this time around a lot less of this non-cash employee compensation, because if for no other reason, they've really gotten punished from the marketplace for it. Samuel's asking, what's your worst case scenario for Bitcoin in the next 5 years? In my opinion, even worst case miners will have decent returns. So I'll just caveat that with a reasonable worst case scenario, because the worst case scenario is always that everything goes to zero. So, that aside, that unlikely scenario aside, a realistic worst case scenario. I mean, I think if every one of these miners 2x'd, I think that almost everybody on this stream right now would be disappointed. So to me, you know, a 2x over the next even 2 or 3 years would be a disappointment to everybody investing in this sector. So I'm expecting something more than that. I'm expecting these, you know, and it's not going to be across the board. There's now 20 plus publicly traded, but the ones that have high conviction in, and a lot of the ones we've talked about, yeah, they should 5x, 10x. Some of them will do even more than that. But, you know, even a double, if everything goes wrong and all these things do is double, you know, I guess it depends when you bought in. If you bought into CleanSpark at 40 and it doubles from 4 to 8, well, you're not very happy. But, you know, if you've averaged in at more reasonable numbers, it's hard to say worst case scenario. I mean, I think a 2x in the next 5 years is worse than the worst case scenario, in my opinion, within reason. Obviously, I have to caveat that anything could happen. Any one of these companies could go out of business, so that brings them to 0. Bitfarms price target if Bitcoin runs to 50. So, I mean, they certainly should. I gotta say, I'm going to say, you know, $8. And I try to be reasonable with my price targets because I think a lot of these hit numbers that were super high, and there was a time where Bitcoin was on fire, high growth stocks were on fire. Some things were clearly hyper inflated, but even in a reasonable environment, you know, they're at $1.50 right now. Getting to $6 is 4x. That's a 4x. So $7.50 is a 5x. I think at 50,000, that's entirely possible, in my opinion. That was from Sour Melon Gaming. Eric saying, hypergrowth companies have been taking the mickey with stock valuations. Yeah, I mean, right now, the last 6 months, the year 2022 has not been a good time to be a growth company. This is like the most risk-off environment ever. And yeah, we're having a little bounce right now, and some of these, you know, a year and a half ago, you could be pre-revenue. You could be pre-prototype of whatever your product was, and you know, you might be trading at $5 billion. And I have actual examples of that. And now, you know, you're in the opposite environment. You've got, well, I consider these Bitcoin miners maturing and at some point thriving businesses, and the valuation has been sucked out of them about as much as they can. Martin saying, Tom, I need your thoughts on BIGG Digital Asset. So I will tell you, I want to do my due diligence again on that because that is such a ridiculously volatile thing that I feel like that is a day trader's stock. So I'm going to put that. In fact, I'll bring a screen up and put it on there. But I will tell you, my knee-jerk reaction is that has just always felt like a trader's stock. The swings in that, I mean, we're all used to big swings being in, you know, Bitcoin miners, but this one puts that to shame. I mean, it's, so the market cap's 66 million. They're at 26 cents right now. So today was actually a pretty calm day for them, down 4.5%. These, I will do the rest of my taking a closer look at that. But I am scared of that from a buy and hold standpoint, especially since it's the traders that are making money on this stock. And if you've got a beat on this, and I don't, but you know, if you've got this one down, I know there's people making an awful lot of money, but unfortunately, that means there's also people losing an awful lot of money. So to me, that one's too dangerous. Eric, thank you very much. Much appreciated. And thanks for all your comments on almost every video, if not every video. I know a bunch of you guys hit all my videos and you take the time to leave a comment, which helps the channel out a lot. So I do want to say I really appreciate that so much. If you're not subscribed, I didn't do my thing. I didn't do my subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Smash the like button if you haven't smashed the like button. And if you're not in our Discord, you can join our Discord. It's free. Most days there's a very active conversation going on over there. And for the most part, we got a couple of people that are a little bit of jokers, but that's okay too. For the most part, it's good talk. So thanks again, Eric, and everybody else that continues to contribute, because I will tell you, it helps. It really does help the channel grow. So it's a big difference. And it's been tough. Views have been tough in the financial arena on YouTube over the last 6 months. I know a lot of people have kind of given up, but I'm doing this all day anyway. I mean, I'm here to stay, so I really appreciate everybody's support very much. We got another person saying, please look into BBKCF, which I will do. Thumbs up from WLG. Thank you. You are also always there, so I appreciate that. Almost at 10K, and I will tell you, they every once in a while they do some kind of sweep. I actually got to 10,000, and then they took like 400 subscribers away. So now I just had to give. I think I'm almost back there again. So I don't know what that is. What kind of, I don't know if they're a lot of my subscribers maybe have just been dormant for so long or whatever the case may be, but I had to get to 10,000. Now I have to get there again, but I'm almost there. I think I should be there in a few days, but I appreciate it. It's all you guys that got me there, and that's a big milestone, so I appreciate that a lot. Kirby's asking, has anything happened with the 10K challenge? So I'll just bring you guys up to date on that right now verbally. We're still sitting. It had a really nice run up. We got back to, and this won't sound like a really nice run up, but I got back to down 50%. So that was my good run up. But I think I'm down. I didn't check as of the end of the day. Today was pretty sideways, but I had fallen off of that, but I think I'm probably pretty close to that right now. I may be down more like 55%. So I'm still down over 50%. I still hold almost all the same positions. A few of them I have converted from stock to leap options just to free up some cash. So I have $1,000 sitting on the sideline in the 10K challenge, just waiting. I think there's some more opportunities out there. So that's what I've done with that in a nutshell. So it's getting thoroughly crushed, but we're sticking with it. It's obviously, this was not the direction I was hoping it would go in, but this is the market. I mean, you guys have been here. The 2022 has been rough, especially the hard part about that particular challenge was I can't add any money to it. I started with 10,000, so I'm a little bit locked in. So I've had to get creative, and I waited a long time to start doing that because I wanted to stick to the initial, premise that we were just going to pick the right stocks, hold out, but I did not know we were in for the worst 6 months of a year in the last 50 years. So I was a little late to adjusting my strategy, but I'm still going. Sour Melon Gaming says, thanks. We greatly appreciate you taking the time every day to make these videos. We need to get you back above 10K subs. Yes, please. I hopefully I'll get back above that this weekend. So thank you. I appreciate it. Eric saying, Curiosity is a silly market cap and Arrow crazy. And I've held both of those. I've considered, the problem with Arrow is I can't buy a leap option. So I've held the stock because there is no, I think it's like $2.50 is the lowest option they'll sell on that. And their share price is now so ridiculously low that I'm not going to buy a $2.50 option, even if it's out a couple of years. So I've held on to my Arrow stock. I've held on to my Curiosity stock in the 10K challenge. They are at ridiculous ridiculous market caps. So, I mean, I still think every single one of the stocks that we picked is going to do their thing. But unfortunately, you know, this 6 or 8 month window of time was the opposite. Yeah, I know. LOL, back to down 50%. That was, believe it or not, I was excited. That was like, wow. But it's not over. I'm going to keep that one going. You know, I'm going to probably start a second one on January 1st of 2023, and let's hope 2023 is better than 2022. That's what I said on January 1st of 2022. But so I'll probably have 2 going. I really want to get this one back over 10,000 and have some of these stocks get to where I know they're going to go. It's just taking a lot longer. Your portfolio is minus 55%. Yeah, so my 10,000 is now 4,500. So One Hot Meal is saying I'm even. So if you are a little positive, so that you've killed it. You've clearly taken a different tactic than I have. I really stuck to my buy and hold, and this was the worst possible time. Now, if I could have been dollar cost averaging in, but one of the parameters was I agreed that I would not put any more money in there for the rest of the year. So it didn't allow me, you know, I took 6 weeks to dollar cost average in, and I thought that was taking my time, but it was not taking my time because things got much, much worse after that. Hey, Martin, thank you. Kirby says thanks, thank you. Crossing fingers for positive price action on Bitcoin this weekend, says Samuel. So so I'll tell you, I think, and I'm going to publish a video right after this. I made it right before this stream, but I didn't get a chance to publish it. I do think we're still going up from here. I think this is a relief rally. I think it's got some room left. We'll see. I could be wrong. I will tell you, I held on to a lot of my options that expire on August 19th. So, not in the 10K challenge in my own personal stuff. So I think there's more left in this rally. If I'm wrong, then, you know, I may have to bail out of those sometime middle of next week. But I feel like there's more upside to come. Particularly, I feel very strongly about Bitfarms. So not financial advice, but they are long overdue, as is CleanSpark, for a pop. Samuel's asking, when did you start investing? Have you ever seen this kind of negative return? I started last year, so I've gotten slaughtered, but I'm holding on, and I still like doing the research on the stocks. So, Samuel, that is an unfortunate time to start. I mean, I started the 10K challenge on January 1st, but I've been investing for, 20 plus years anyway. And this is about as bad as it's ever. This could be the worst run ever. Back in 2008, things got brutal. So maybe that was the equal to this. That might have been worse than this. That's the only other one in my adult lifetime. If you were heavily invested in the internet stocks in 2000 and you got caught up in the dot-com bubble, but I did not have money in those stocks. So I didn't get burned. The NASDAQ got destroyed. The NASDAQ took 15 years to get back to where it was in the year 2000. So those are the two worst things in the last 25 years. That, back in 2008, I mean, there was a day in 2008, the market got back down to, I think the Dow Jones got under 7,000. And it was at 14,000 a few months earlier. So that's more than a 50% decline. And some of the banking stocks, which were supposed to be, safe havens, some of those were trading as penny stocks. So that was a beating. So I would say there's one other time. And my personal portfolio has not taken the same kind of beating as my 10K challenge because I've been able to dollar cost average into that one. So, that's I'm still down, don't get me wrong. I don't have a single portfolio that's up for the year in 2022. but some of them are a lot better than others based on my ability to dollar cost average in and play some options and that kind of stuff. So if you just started, I would say stick with it. This is just about as bad as it gets. It's as bad as I've ever seen it. I don't know. You know, maybe if somebody was around in the 70s, maybe it was worse than this. I mean, I was around in the 70s, but I was not of age to be investing. Let's put it that way. So yeah, this is just about as bad as it gets, and it can always I mean it can always get worse. I can't sit here and tell you that we're at the absolute bottom and it's up from here. There's world events can dictate short-term, you know, massive downward pushes, and I think we're in the middle of a relief rally, but there may be more pain ahead. There probably is. So stick with it. You know, that's the only advice I can give to everybody is this is just a learning process. However long you guys have been in this, you probably all know to some different level of this is just a part of the learning process. Eric saying, I've been invested 35 years. It's the worst ever right now. So yeah, you think this one's even worse than the 2008 nightmare. So and you're probably right, especially I'll agree with this, especially because most of the very popular stocks traded by retail investors are down significantly more than the indexes are down. So the indexes are down 20% or 30% or 35%. But, you know, we're sitting here looking at Bitcoin miners. The entire industry at one point just over a month ago, all 17 that I track were down on average. They were down 92%. I mean, I've never seen anything like that ever in any market. So you're right. Depending on the EV market's gotten crushed, the small cap high growth stocks have gotten crushed. So and I know it's all the stocks that are very popular among retail investors. And in the right time, you know, the year before that, those stocks were killing it. But unfortunately, you might be right, Eric. So you've been doing this for 35 years, and you would vote this is the worst. My initial vote is this is the second worst, but I could get on board. I could get on board with saying this is the worst ever. So, all right, I got to wrap it up. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it so much. Eric, One Hot Meal, Samuel. Thanks, everybody else, for being consistent viewers and leaving comments. I know it's extra effort, and I really appreciate it from you guys. And I do try to answer most comments. Sometimes it takes me 24 hours, but I love interacting. A lot of you guys have a lot of great thoughts as well. So, and sometimes I get ideas to do a video from the comments that you leave in my videos. So I appreciate everybody's support. I hope everybody had a good trading week. Hopefully, you know, from the middle of the day Wednesday till now, it was good stuff for the Bitcoin miners for the most part. So you can see I've got the Bitcoin chart up. We're still just sitting here in the exact same spot. So I'm hoping we move up over the weekend. Colton, hey, everybody have a great weekend. Thank you so much for watching. Please enjoy your weekend, and I will do some videos this weekend. So I'll see you in my next video.